Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. If you subscribe to my channel and see all the videos uploaded, you can probably tell that we are running through all of these Oscar nominated films. Which ones are good? Which ones are bad? Which ones are somewhere in the middle? Most likely they're good, but we're going to be talking about it. And this one specifically is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Man, that is a tongue twister. As you guys can see, I am not by myself. I got my boy Malcolm right here. How you doing, sir? How you doing?
What's going on, bro? Good to be back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. And guys, if you recognize this face, this is the gentleman that I started my channel with about 10 years ago, man. That was a long time
That's
ago.
crazy.
And the last time we did do a video together was in November. It was Black Panther Wakanda Forever Spoilers Review Part 2. Of course, that is on my channel as well. Got a little different hairstyle, as you can see. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out this whole review. Watch it from beginning to end. And that one as well. And so, yeah, we're running through these Oscar nominated films. This one right here, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, is being nominated for an Oscar, of course, for Best Animated Feature. And we're going to talk about if it should win or not, because we have 5 films that are being nominated. This one right here, Turning Red, The Sea Beast, Puss in Boots, The Last Witch, and off the top of what I can't remember the other one, but I'll pull it up by the end of this review. And also, if you were like an audio only version of this review, you can get that right here. There's a link to it in the description box below with buzzsprout.com. I am on all of these platforms that you see right here: Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. And I'm also on SoundCloud as well if you want to get your audio only version together. Also, this is going to contain slight spoilers. This was released, at a film festival in 2021, then came over for a wider release in about June of 2022, and then it hit its big wide release in July, mid-July of last year as well. And we want to talk about it for these Oscars. And I will say this: when the trailer first came out for this film, Malcolm, it did pique my interest. I said, wow, this is a nice little cute little film that, the trailer is giving me. I think I'll have a good time with it. But I didn't get around to seeing it until recently. And just my general impressions about this film overall is it's just one of the cutest little movies that I've seen in a long time. I love what they did with the live action combined with the stop animation. I do like that. Of course, we're going to be talking about the director and all that. But off the top, man, it kind of reminds me of a live action Toy Story adaptation. That's kind of the vibes that I was getting. And it really resonated with me too, because even as a young adult, and this may sound weird, and I don't care because I especially did this as a child. I was like, man, what is it like for the life of a rock or a leaf or some lint, a bug, a butterfly, or whatever? And I kind of got that perspective with this film, and I found it quite fascinating. I did, especially with all the behind the scenes of making this film, and we're definitely going to get into it. But I want to pass it to you, man. Like, what was your expectations going into this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And do you think it was mid? Do you think it deserves to be a nominated Oscar film? Do you think it should win? How you feeling about it off top?
Yeah, so anybody who's watched us before knows I am a A24 stan, right? Like I rock with them. They can't do anything wrong. They can't do wrong, but I support them all the way because they try different things, in this filmmaking space. But I thought there's gonna be some corny stuff that I wasn't gonna connect with.
Oh,
And I was all the way wrong. This is one of the 1 or 2 movies of last year that actually made me feel something. Like
really?
I probably shed a couple tears, and I never shed tears about anything, but
You
it
don't?
really resonated with me.
Oh my
It
God.
resonated with me. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because you don't expect that from a cute movie, right?
Right, right.
But and I was like, what's gonna happen. Which look, I watched thousands of movies at this point in my life. I know what's gonna happen. I study it, but it still made me feel something I didn't want to feel or think I would feel, right?
Right,
And so
right,
it was
right.
a story about grief, you know what I mean, and longing and being a child, you know what I mean. And so it's easy to connect with it. I think it's great for any generation, whether it's a kid or it's a older person, and I think it's a great family film. So
Got you. That's what's up, man. I'm very surprised to hear that, man, because like I've been knowing you for a long time, coming up on 2 decades, and emotion is something that I don't think I've ever seen come from Malcolm. And so I know you're a human, man, but I am surprised to, hear that because he doesn't know how I feel about this film. I don't know how he feels about it. And just to complete what I was just talking about a second ago, the 5 films that are being nominated for Best Animated Feature. The one I left off is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and I have a review for that on my channel as well. But one of the things that is great about this, Malcolm, is just the character Marcel. I mean, you can't help but fall in love with this character. It's just one of the cutest little things out there. It's being voiced by Jenny Slate. This is what the young sister looks like right here. And what's fascinating to me, are you familiar with the director of this movie?
not off the top. Who is it again?
The director of this was actually casted in the film, Dean Fletcher Camp. This is the name right here. Try to get a image for you because there is not one on IMDb. But Dean, the person that was actually in the film, is the director of this. And Jenny Slate, the person that voiced Marcel, it was so meta because their real life their exes, they were
Okay.
married to each other. And so when I was doing a little research, somebody was asking them like, hey, since y'all were married and y'all are, divorced or separated now, was it kind of difficult for you guys to film this? And that was like, no, this was like a passion project for both of us. And that was a part of the story because not Dean, but Marcel was like, hey, why are you living here in this Airbnb? And he's like, oh, I'm trying to look for a new apartment. Things are not working out with my wife. At first he was like, it's personal, but their relationship grew, later on in the film. But their real life story was like in the movie. And I just found that pretty cool, man. Like
Yeah, that's nice.
I didn't really expect anything like that. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. But they grew apart in real life, but was able to grow together in this film. And I just thought that was kind of cool and interesting, And so if you guys didn't know that, now you do. So I don't know, what you think about that?
Well, no, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I didn't get that deep into it. I knew I did a little bit of research later. I knew they had done it before, but I wasn't sure about the relationship and the connection. Now I love her. Like she's one of my favorite like sitcom type comics. Like she kills it. She has this like so it's interesting to have her in this movie, and she's still a little bit funny. Like she's not like it's a mild comedy for her because she's very like sarcastic and dark. But
Yes.
I think it's a great job. She did a great job.
Yeah, she did do a great job. I love the personality. Like you said, very dark, very sarcastic, and very naive on how big the world is. But I like the fact that she was able to adjust, to her surroundings, easy. I mean, I just thought it was so cute when either Marcel is on a map and was like, "Hey, I'm trying to find my family." But what I do is I just go on top of a mantle. Like, what do you do? What is your mantle? And Marcel literally goes on the mantle. Like, hey, I can look down upon everything, and that's when we can find the teal car. But when Marcel gets in the car and driving on the dashboard, throwing up all over the mouth, and they get to the top of the mountain, that's when she realizes how big the world is. And it was shocking, but she was able to swallow that pill whole without a problem. And I just kind of love the way she was able to adapt, without losing, her mind. I just kind of found that real fascinating, like, I mean, that was a pro for me. I just liked the way that she was able to adapt, amongst her surroundings. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, like, how do you feel about that? Or like, what are some of the other pros that you found in this movie that was fascinating to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, this is Marcel is like a kid, right? Even as a shell kid, and it's has older grandparent or whatever. But like you could feel the innocence, right? And we all were there at some point in our young life, right? So it just
Hmm.
you connected with it, like, and it was like she just so positive, her outlook on life, and what I mean, like she was also caring. Like I again, me, like I've been in those shoes before. Like I was around my grandmother at that age, and a big part of my life, and going through the grief and everything. Like it really connected with me. I don't know if that was the purpose, but it definitely worked.
Yeah, man. I also found it pretty cool just the way Marcel would maneuver around the house or the apartment, in a little tennis ball. And you would, just her structure of life, how she was able to navigate. I
Very
mean,
resilient.
yes. I mean, there was, she had a way to get around in every way you can imagine. I really liked that the tennis ball, whether they was getting fruit out of the tree and use the food mixer to tie to the string that was tied to the tree outside. I mean, I liked all of that. A people person too. I mean, you can tell that they've been there for a long time. There's been so many people that's come through this Airbnb, and she learned from, I think, every person that came in there, and it was just, I like that. And it's really cool to see these live action human beings interact with a stop animated figure, a shell that's 1 foot tall. I don't know where this idea came from. I know this was originally a short film that came out in 2013, but that's just the coolest thing to me, because while this does remind me of Toy Story, the toys did not interact with the humans, except for in part one where they were trying to scare Skid to death, before they got on the back
Mhm.
of the car. But I found that fascinating. The whole documentary style of this, I mean, it was like a film within the film. That this whole 60-minute interview at the very end. I don't know. I was really drawn in by all of that, and this is just like a type of movie that I've never seen before. The whole YouTube personality, I loved all of that. How'd you feel about it?
No, no. I love Marcel. Like Marcel is like the best of us, and with the childhood innocence too. Also funny, charming, warm. You know what I mean? Receptive to people, wanting to learn new things, and curious. Like literally, like the one of the most perfect characters that I've seen in the film. Like I just like loved her, right, or him, or whatever.
Right,
but
right.
but yeah, I mean the entire story, man. Like I told you, it's the first thing that made me feel something last year, right? And I was totally blown away by it. And that's the thing about it. Like I wasn't going into it looking to have an emotional reaction, but it brought it out of me. And I was like, okay, I know exactly what's going to happen within 5 minutes of turning the movie on. And it didn't matter. That's how much you connect with Marcel. That's how much you empathize with the grandmother. Well, I did, and it's like, wow, like this is amazing, right? So
Yeah, and I love the attitude that they had as well. And Marcel is a very caring person, very intelligent. When Dean is like, hey, I'm gonna go talk to my grandmother now, and he's like, wait a minute, Dean, I just want to make sure that you being human and the camera and all the lights, that may be just a little bit much for her. So let me go talk to him first. And the grandma is like, hey, do you want me to leave? Like, oh no, I want you to stay. But I just wanted to give you a warning. And the actress that plays the grandmother, the character's name is Connie, but it's Isabella Rossellini, and she's not too familiar for me, but I loved her performance in this as well. I mean, just seems like a nice older lady, a grandma that you just love and want to snuggle up with on the couch and bake your cookies and all that. And I don't know. I like that. I don't know which character I like more, Marcel or Connie. They were both fascinating to me. I would want to hang out with both of them, playing dominoes or something. Who knows? But this short cast of people, I really did enjoy all the characters, especially Dean. Dean wasn't my favorite, but it's kind of a tie between Marcel and Connie. I don't know, but who takes the tiebreaker for you, or if any at all, or that really doesn't matter?
between Marcel, no, Marcel is it.
Okay.
It's not really it's not a competition to me. Like like I wish I had me a little talking shell with some shoes on, honestly. She's definitely, like I said, even without the situation she went through, even if she just like being a character, like it just connected with me, right? So I don't know. She's one of those. I wish that it had a bigger platform because I think the character is so great, right?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
don't know. I think about Marcel all the time, honestly, bro.
Wow.
It
Wow.
really impacted me a lot.
How long ago did you see this?
I saw this movie probably like around maybe was it October.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is fairly fresh for me. Also, man, when I was watching this, it just kind of made me think about like how, we take a lot of things for granted, just the small things. And like the things that we just throw away, that we pay no attention to at all, is the entire world for
Mhm.
Marcel. Like a piece of lint. We don't think about lint. You know, we just dust it off our shoulder and like whatever. But to Marcel, it's a pet. You know, he would actually get some hair from the shower and untangle it and then tie lint to it, and had a dog named Alan, but it was a piece of lint. And just the way that these shells were transported from one place to another, like, okay, my grandmother didn't like grow up in the house. She came from the basement or the garage, and then she came into the house because, you know, she was traveling in somebody's pocket. I mean, just that right there is like mind blowing to me. Like, I'm just like, why? How did you just think about all of this and want to put it into a film? I mean, I don't know. To me, that would sound crazy if I was some producer or executive and I had somebody come in like, hey, I want to tell a movie about a 1-inch shell that has a dog named Alan that's a piece of lint. I mean, that just sounds ludicrous.
Yeah,
But when you see it on screen here, it delivers. You know what
it
I'm saying?
definitely
I'm just, you
does.
know, it does. I mean, at the same time, I'm not saying that this is the best movie in the world, but crap, this is still just something that I've never seen before. And I think he, you know, kind of knocked this out the park in a way. For at the very least, for being unique and different from anything I've seen before. So,
And this
you
is
know,
exactly why I'm an A24 stan, because they willing to distribute movies that are like this. So it gives me confidence, right? Like
yeah,
there's some crazy, like, you know, studying film, like you've seen everything, and the first thing you learn in school is like there's nothing new under the sun. But it's like
right,
every now and then a movie comes along that you didn't think it was even possible to even think about, right? And it still like hits. Like it's not just a quirky idea or something different. Because I thought it was gonna be corny. I really, really did, genuinely. Even though I love the main actress a voice character, but like I didn't expect too much from this movie, so I went in reluctant, and it came out feeling different. You know, that's all I ask for with my movies. Like, you know, is I want to be you know, I want to feel different when I come out of that, right?
right on.
And that's what happened. So
Now, who do you think this movie is more for, children or adults, or kind of a mix in you know, a mix in that, or you know, mixing between?
it's a
How do you?
mix, of course, with the characterization and with the voice. You definitely could, you know, sit some kids down with this. It does get dark in some areas, so you know, it just depends. You know, I wouldn't maybe like, I don't really know how people raise their kids, but like, you know, little bit of kids, maybe not. I'm not really sure, but definitely for adults too. Like I said, I watch movies. I watch a lot of dramas. I watch black and white foreign films. Some really stuff that's not palatable to the average person, but this like really got me. I
I
wasn't
got you.
expecting too much from it, man, and like it blew me away.
You said at the very beginning when it started off, you knew exactly how it was going to end. And like,
Oh yeah,
what do you mean by that? Like, what did you? How did you know? What did you predict or know how?
okay.
You know.
Spoiler.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead.
The grandma dies. She was gonna die.
Right.
Like
Right.
you
Right.
saw that. Like, okay, I see what's happening. It's gonna be a story of grief, and you're like, all right, I've seen this 1,000 times. Whatever. You're trying to cook and whatever, and it's like, wait a minute, like this is a interesting character, and like she has an interesting world, and like her ideas about the world, like it's like mind blowing. It's like you start paying attention, and it's like, wow, you start feeling for her in the relationship with the grandmother. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, and like you start feeling for Marcel's dream, right? So it's like, again, I say this. This is my quote for the movie. Marcel is the best of us. Like I love that character. You know what she represents, and you know her flight, you know her plight, you know. And so this is a movie that I actually bought. I bought a lot of movies, but not like recently.
Nice. Nice. I love it.
So I like this a lot.
I love to hear it, man. And also, you know, Marcel is funny. Marcel is just not just funny, just hilarious, but also sarcastic, you know, but also puts his foot down and has an attitude with the grandma as well. The only time this is why I was able to resonate, is the only time I ever right now have an attitude or talk back to my parents is when it has to do with their health. You know, if I'm like, okay, mom, dad, you need to eat healthy, or drink your water, or go walk or something like that. I mean, other than that, it's, you know, yes, ma'am, you know, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. But we will there will be some tension that arises when, you know, I don't feel like they're taking care of themselves, because I want them to prolong their life as long as possible. You know, and so when I see Marcel doing this with the grandmas, like, okay, you know, your mind is changing, your attitude is shifting. I don't want you to do this. It's going to be too much. I don't want 60 minutes to come in here and interview you, because, you know, this is what's going to happen. And I think that's possibly what killed her. You know, I don't know. And so I was able to resonate with that as well, because Marcel is such a cute, innocent, sweet person, you know, but, you know, she kind of had a little attitude when, you know, she was trying to take care of grandma. when she's all bandaged up like this. And so that really touched my heart as well. That was one of the best parts to me. And also on top of that, just how Marcel realized what the world really was. He did not know, or she did not know what a documentary was. At first, it was just 84 views on YouTube, and it turned into like 2 million or 22 million, thinking that, hey, I'm going to get help. We have a community here, I have all these friends, but then just like, oh, people just want a bunch of, they're clout chasing. They're just coming over to the house, trying to take selfies. And, Marcel didn't, go into a corner and cry. But again, like I said at the very beginning of this review, I liked the way she responded and reacted to it. Like, wait a minute, this is not a community. This is an audience. And that just kind of reminds me of the real world that we're living in today. And it was kind of shocking to me, too, that revelation right there. And so, like, did you feel the same thing, or how'd you feel about that?
About with the audience?
Yeah, like his sense of community, that was like a big deal to him, But he realized, like, to me, Marcel was like, the biggest heart. You said Marcel is the best of us, right?
Yes.
Big heart, cares about everybody, wants everybody, But he realized that that's not how everybody else feels, and I mean that's how I interpreted it when nobody was really helping him at first. I mean, he got the help eventually through 60 Minutes, but I think that was kind of shell shock. She was kind of shell shocked, when she realized, like, wait, these people really don't care. They just, want to take a bunch of pictures or whatever. I mean, that just stood out to me.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely does. Again, I stand by what I said as far as her being the best of us. And like, at a certain point, unfortunately, that's when you lose your innocence, whether it's grief or realizing people out here are selfish and going to take advantage of you. That's just how life works. So it was beautiful to see like her growth and her still being positive over time. Right. Like,
Right. So. Right. I agree, man. And it was a Kodak moment, especially at the end where, she reunites with all her family. I thought it was like 20 shells at first when it was like, hey, during a storm, all my family, we would go hide in the sock drawer. And then the husband got upset and, dumped all the drawer into the suitcase and not ran away, but just drove away. I was like, damn, that's so sad, how the family was split up. It's such a big deal to Marcel and the rest of the family, but just it's not a big deal to anybody else because it's just a freaking shell. So this was cute right here. I really did like this, the way it ended. I thought that was beautiful. Them kind of cut it up on a little hot dog bun, and so that was nice. Again, I loved everything with 60 Minutes as well. This was really fascinating to me. The whole makeup, production, all that. And so let me ask you, do you have any cons, any negatives about this film?
Well, it probably would be the ending, but it kind of connected with me later. After I thought about it for a little while, it reminded me of one of my favorite movies, because I love movies about children having like a coming of age and like, getting over something traumatic, right? Mm-hmm. And like she said something in the Beast of the Southern Wild, like I'm just a small piece of a big, universe, right? And that's just how you felt looking at Marcel, like this person is so amazing and so great. You would hate for her to just be here, and it's like 4 of them, right? And you can tell like her world is bigger than what we even imagined. So that was that tugged at my heartstrings a little bit too, right? Like they got all kind of like, it was food, it was breadcrumbs, like everything. Right, and it's like, okay, this person is even more fascinating now because something bigger than her made her world. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Right on, man. Right on.
But at first I was like, they finally went corny on me. But no, I got it. I had to filter it through a little bit and think about it deeply, a little bit more deeply. So yeah, it all came together for me, man.
Well, that's what's up, man. Pretty much everybody loves this film as well. If we're looking on Rotten Tomatoes right now, 98% from the critics and 90% from the audience, and those are a number of reviews right there. Worldwide, $6.8 million, and I know that this was, believe, relieved digitally as well. I could be wrong there. If so, someone
I bought it digitally. So
okay. I got you. But I really enjoyed it, man. I thought this was a lot of fun, and I had somewhat high expectations for this, but they were met, and so I'm glad I was able to see this. Do you have any final thoughts?
Are we doing the ratings now, or what do you?
Well, yeah. What would you rate this out of a 1 out of 10, or a letter grade,
Yeah,
however
I
you want to rate
mean,
it?
we can do numbers. Honestly, like I said, I didn't have too much expectations. I do have biases because I love A24 films and give them more of a chance, even though some of them let me down. But like this, I didn't have too much expectation for. But it just kind of pulled me in, and I was resisting. And again, it was a movie that made me feel the most last year. Some of the most fun I've had at the theater last year. This is easily a 10 out of 10 film for me. This is
Mm.
one of the best films I've seen in the last couple of years, honestly.
Wow. Well, I love to hear it, man. I didn't think you was gonna give it a 10. But I ain't mad at you for it, bro. I'm not mad at you. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, which is still great. A lot of people consider it an A. But it was fascinating, man. And so if you have a chance, I think you should check it out. This definitely does deserve to be at the very least nominated for a best animated feature. Even if it's not a film that you want to buy yourself or have repeat viewing, I still think anybody that watches this will have a good time at least once and can pull a lot from it. And because it was just a great experience. And so there you go. This is 1 out of the 5 films that is being nominated for best animated feature. Have you seen all of them here?
I have not. This is not my category, right? But
Okay, it's all good.
but it
It's all
makes me want to
good.
watch them to see. I do have Pinocchio on the list, and also Puss in Boots too. But again, I didn't consider Marcel animation, but I guess it is like stop motion, whatever. But
That's true. That's true.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. We're gonna see, the only one on this list that I haven't seen at the time of this recording is the Sea Beast, but I'm gonna be checking that out either tomorrow or the next day. But guys, there you go. Marcel in the shell, or excuse me, Marcel the shell with the I can't even, it's a tongue twister. Marcel the shell with shoes on, nominated for best animated feature for the Oscars. Tell us what you thought. Did you love this film? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in between? If it resonated with you or not, we would love to hear it down in the comment section below.
Life
Also,
affirming.
guys, I'm sorry.
I said it's life affirming. Go
Yes,
see
yeah,
it.
it is. It is. It is. And so make sure you subscribe and check out all my other reviews. I mean, Creed just came out a few weeks ago. You can check that out. Also, check out my Cocaine Bear review if you would like. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania spoilers review part 1. And also, my review with Malcolm for Wakanda Forever. And, he's not like a big comic book head. He's more independent. And so it was very nice getting his perspective from that as well. But guys, again, we just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that I'm B. Avery, that's Malcolm, and that's just our opinion. Peace out, and we'll see you next time.